Hello my beautiful friends on the internet. So last time we stopped at this where we created the add tax provider class that extends change notifier. So we created some setters and some getters that returns the response, and then we created the instance of our like the object of our endpoint where we are getting it from, which is this one we created. I think, yeah. And then we created a function, a void function that asks the add the tax, and then we are accepting the two arguments, which are the status and the tax, based on what the API is going to request. So let me close this terminal. So based on what the API is going to request, and then what we did next was to just create some value notifier that gets the client, and then we create a result, a query result, and we pass in the document, which is this schema that just describes what we are sending to the database, and then a variable that just gets like where we can pass in the data, the tags, the objects that we are going to pass to the database. Based on this, you can see it has tags, it has status. Assuming we have more than 3 or 4 arguments, we can also create the same variables here as well. So it's just more like you making a post request. Function here is just to clear the response and set it to an empty string, which is the default value. Okay, so real quick, to get this stuff up and running, I'm going to add this add tax provider, because for you to actually run and use providers, you need to add it, you need to register it first. So what I normally do is to go to I normally go here and I create a multi-provider. So because we are going to be using more than one providers, that's why I want to use multi-provider. So if you're not familiar, please check out my previous video. I'm also going to put a link in the description. Okay, multi-providers. Yeah, so this provider is actually a list. Okay, provider change notifier provider. It takes a context. You can, if you don't want the context, you can just return an underscore, and then we can return that function I just copied, which is add task, and no, should be with comma, notify provider. So make sure you import it, and change notifier provider, make sure you also do the same and import it, because they are all coming from this case. Now I don't have to return home page again, because now it's going to be part of the provider, so it's going to be the child of that provider. So what I'll do, just return it as a child, like so, and make sure you remove these. Okay, remove that. Have the return multi-provider, then the providers we want. If there are more than 2 providers, we can also actually add all of them here, depending on how many providers you have. Okay, so for now we are actually working with one, because just add tax provider, and then I have the child material app that returns the home page. Okay, so I'm just going to do a hot restart real quick to rebuild the app. Oops, my app needs to be up. Okay, so just do a hot restart and just hold on for if it's returned successfully, that means the provider was successfully added. All right, so now I can close this. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I've already added this stuff. I've registered this stuff now to the providers, okay, that we're going to be working with. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the add to do, the add to do section. Okay, so I go to the add to do section. So I think I need to minimize this stuff a little bit for us to see everything that is going on. Yeah, I think most of you will be smiling by now. Okay, since we are working with provider, we can wrap this button, this button here, this very button, with consumer widget. Okay, we can wrap it with a consumer widget. So I normally use a stream builder first. So once I get the stream builder, I remove the stream. Okay, then I return consumer. This consumer is actually coming from provider. Okay, then the object is going to be the type, because provider works with types a lot. Without the types, it won't know what to do. So we need to add this add tax provider to it. Okay, I did a video on providers, so you can always check it out to learn how it's done and how it's being used. Okay, so import those stuffs, and these builders take three stuff. So the first one I'm just going to call it task, and the second one is going to be a child widget. Okay, and that's it. So these tags will help us to add. Okay, first thing first, let's try to fix some things here. So what I will do, I will check if the tags, it's because it will give us access from these tags. Now let me close this. From these tags now, it will give us access to these getters and these setters, that is the status and the response. Okay, and also the function, whatever that is inside that class. So I can say tags, which is coming from this. You can see it is of type add tags provider, because I've already set the type, so it knows where it's going to point to. So I will say tags dot status, get status. If it equal to true, so we are going to return loading. Else, okay, sorry, if it's equal to true, return loading. Yeah, the error should be gone. It's not supposed to be constant, so we need to remove that. All right, so yeah, that's it. If I save it now, it's still going to show this way, but to be sure, let me change this stuff to if get status is equal to 4. Remember, by default it's actually false. Okay, so let me test to be sure that that stuff is going to work. So I'm going to change it to false, save it, and it should change the test there to loading. Awesome. So that's the cool thing about provider. You can see I'm not really writing all those get this, get that inside this class. I'm only using the provider to just access those things. So this way the UI don't really know what is happening behind the scene. Okay, all right, so I also need to change this color to gray while it's adding. Okay, so I can use the same thing, the same methods. It should be gray. Awesome. Okay, let's go back to how it was before. All right, so now what I'm going to do now is just to check first. The first condition that I told you guys I was going to check is if the task dot test dot is empty, but I'm going to check here if it's not empty. Only add if it's not empty. So what I'm just going to do is just going to call task dot add task, which is the function inside here. So you can see this task, add task, so it will require me to pass two parameters. Okay, so you can see now this provider, add task provider, and this task is giving us access to add this task. Okay, so we can close it. Then if you hover on it now, it says I need this task and the status, so we are going to pass the task. So the task is going to be whatever we type inside here. Okay, so I'm just going to use the task dot test. So use trim basically is to remove any white space before and after the test. Then the status is just going to be, let's just say active or pending, but I don't know. But to make it cool, what you have to do is to create maybe a checkbox. Once you check on it, to be, or you can just do it whichever way you feel will be nice. Okay, so what I'm just going to do here is just a simple practice to just show you how GraphQL provider works. Okay, so now this is it. So what I'm going to do also to check if this task is true. So if this task is true, I want to disable this button so that I won't be able to click on it. All right, so the way to do that is just to add task dot, then return the normal function like so. Okay, all right, cool. So now I'm going to go to this add. Remember I printed this status here, so let me just do a hot restart, and then we'll try to add a to do and see if it's going to print out the response. Okay, if it prints out the response, then I'm going to show a snack bar when the stuff is added. Okay, remember that GraphQL listens continuously, so you need to be careful of the stuffs or functions you run inside here. Like, you need to be so careful of what it's more like you running something inside this build method, because it calls it every seconds. So you need to be really careful of the stuff you add there. So let's try to add a new to do. So if I click on this now, nothing is happening. Okay, so I think it's still printing. Okay, it's printing because I call this if statement outside. I call this print statement outside this if statement, but that's not a matter. That's not something we should worry about. So I'm going to call this one YouTube task. Okay, yeah, I think that should do. So click on save. You see this stuff is going to change. Loading. Hooray! So this was a response. It was added successfully. Type name mutation, create to do, type name, to do, and ID. So you can see the response we also got from here: data, create to do, ID. So it's not with this one is not returning type name, but this one returns type name. Okay, this type name is used for GraphQL Hive store to actually store the cache the data, and it's actually going to know the data that it needs to fetch whenever we want to fetch it with that internet. So now we have successfully added a to do. Okay, so let me show you how to show some response, like when we add it to do, more like a response, a snack bar or whatever. So the way I normally do it is to do it inside here. So I always create a widget binding, because this stuff listings every second, so it's not nice to call set state. It's more like you calling set state inside stream builder. It might throw error. So I'll use this dot add post framework callback. Yeah, so this is what I normally use. Okay, like so. So what I will just do here, I'll just check for if statement to be sure that this stuff does not list shows continuously. So I'll check if the tags.get response, if it's equal to an empty string. I don't want to show anything. Okay, if tags.get response is not equal to an empty string, then we can show our snack bar. Okay, so it can be please wait, whatever. So let's just say scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar, and then the content is going to be a test widget, and it's going to come from task.get response, like so. And we can close this now. All right, error somewhere, it needs another cover. Yeah, so just save that. Okay, I'm going to save it now and hopefully do some hot restart. Okay, so just watch what will happen. Tags was successfully added. So if we do stuff like this, we continuously be calling. But what I need to do, once we call the snack bar, I need to clear the tags, which is the response. So I just call clear. So you know what this clear does? It sets the response to the default, which is not empty. So that means it's only going to call that snack bar once and then clear it. It will not call it continuously and then just stick to that. Okay, so let's try to add. It's empty, we are not going to see anything. So let me add another to do, another task. Okay, save. You will see please wait, so hold on, and we should see to do added. Tags added successfully. So now we have successfully added this tags. You can pop this widget back to the home page if you want. If you want to do stuff like that, you can pop it back to the home page. Okay, but this is it, and this is what I want to show you guys. Now we have successfully seen how to add to do to GraphQL endpoint, GraphQL server using provider, and also the GraphQL package. So in the next section, I'm going to show you how to view those data, and then we can read it from this part.